There he is.
See that?
Hey, miss.
See that?
Look at that.
Yeah.
This looks like a professional operation.
Hey, you know, they give you equipment, you got to use it, you know?
Look at that microphone. Where are you? You're not at home. This isn't the home office.
This is not the home office. This is my Rittenhouse Hotel office. I'm in the lobby.
You move around more than anyone look, I know.
If you keep moving, they can't find you.
Thank you for.
Not that anybody's looking for me.
No, look. I love what you said. We haven't posted the last one yet, but which will go up early next week. Yeah. I love what you said. The woman who said, "Didn't you used to be Mayor Michael Nutter?"
No, didn't you
used to be Michael Nutter. I love that.
Okay.
Bill Clinton tells a story after he was governor and lost after his first term, right. And then took some time off and was running again and ran into a constituent at a gas station, and the constituent just cursed him out a blue streak, told him, "You cost me so much money with your taxes." And Clinton's just there pumping up his truck, right? So he finally says, "Well, I guess I don't have your vote a second time." And the guy says, "Oh no, you do now because we're even." I thought that was great, man. I thought it was great. Like it means never stop talking to people, right? No, the fact that he stood there and took it.
Don't give up on him. Don't give up on him.
Yeah, we're even now.
We're even now. You lost. What's the one? I think was it Ed Koch? Somebody I guess he lost it, man. Dinkins. He was out somewhere. I won't do the story justice, and somebody was giving him the business, and he just said, "I don't have to listen to this shit anymore."
That's right.
And walked away.
It gets back to what we were talking about last time with Mayor Lorza. Once you're done, especially if you're mayor and you don't want to be anything else like you. And I actually think you could have. Remember when Ed ran statewide? The
second time.
When he ran for governor, right after he was mayor for 8 years.
Yeah.
All those people, all those constituents in the suburbs who never got a chance to vote for Ed Rendell, but he was on there. I think the same thing would have applied to you if you did a statewide race.
My support in the suburbs was always kind of through the roof, and people would say, why is that? I said, well, first, I go out there a lot. Secondly, I never raised their taxes. I did not pick up the trash. Right? That's right. I didn't do anything to them. Like, we love him.
That's right. They see you on the news every night. Yeah. There he is.
Oh, crisp and clean. Look at him. Look,
he's always crisp.
He just stepped right out of a GQ photo shoot.
Hey, Mary Reed, how you doing?
How you doing, man?
Ann's not here today, so I don't know what's going on.
Well,
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You look good.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Got that high collar white shirt on. He's ready for business on a Friday afternoon. On a Friday afternoon, he's ready for business.
I'm so glad you're not in a car. I don't know what to do. I'll tell you, that's when I run around the desk.
That was my main commitment for this one today. I'm gonna be situated somewhere, and you might not be able to fully see it, Kasim. Even though I'm not at home, I brought the mic with me.
Yeah, I know. I actually think the car kind of gave the podcast a whimsical quality. You know what I mean? Nothing was going to stop it.
Absolutely. I actually think it's really funny.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
On the move. On the road again.
The message must get out.
The message must get out. They can't stop it. There's nothing they can do.
And I was in a race one time or another, and it was a competitive race, man. This group of people rented a warehouse and got 40 phones and started calling into the race at 4 a.m. saying, "Hey, are you for Michael Nutter? No, I know you're asleep, but you don't understand how important this is." And then the poor people would be like, "It's 4 a.m. They were like, "I know it's 4 a.m, but politics has no hour." That's my first experience with dirty tricks. It was hilarious. Oh, they called about 3,000 people waking them up. Oh my goodness.
So it was, we were pretty well known for our fundraising. This is in 07.
Yeah.
And this was it in my experience, at least. I mean, we had just like entered the realm of like credit cards and over the phone and all that kind of stuff, right? So I call a person, and what happened was there was a provision in our campaign finance that if any of the candidates spent more than $250,000 of their own money, it kicked in what we called the millionaire's exception, and so you could double the amount that you could raise. So Tom Knox,
good old days.
Yes, Tom Knox hit it. Tom Knox hit that number on like December 15th, right? Provision kicks in, and for the next 15 days, we double back everybody who had maxed to max again, right? And then we're going to hit them again in January. So I'm on the phone with this person. And he said, "Well, Michael, I'd love to do it. I support you." I said, "Yes, I know you do. You maxed out to me. I'd like you to do it again. We have this special 15-day period." He said, but I'm driving on the Pennsylvania Turnpike right now." I said, "Well, there's a shoulder, right? Can't you pull over?"
Yeah.
It's a shoulder.
It's a shoulder on the turn. I said, "Can't you pull over? My purse is right here. They'll take your car right now, and then you get right back on the road."
Yeah. Well, so in Atlanta, we have a really big entertainment crowd, and they give a lot of money, right? And so we had a fundraiser. Her name is Stacy Johnson. She's an incredible fundraiser.
Yeah.
And so what she would do is, these guys had these fabulous houses and these fabulous offices. And so, she'd go, "I'm just calling, I'm getting ready to come by and pick up a max contribution." And then they go, "Huh?" And then, she said, "I want your company's max. I want your max. So just write down all of your companies, and I'm going to come by and get the checks at once." So she would go into their office, and then, they go, I'm giving how much?" And she said, "Look, if you're having financial problems, just say that."
Oh, man.
They be like, "What? Absolutely not. Get my checkbook."
She played right into the ego.
She go, "Hey, look, if you're having financial issues, I would tell the mayor that."
Oh no.
Hey guys,
they had every company they had.
I love that.
I said 25.
Can you tell the listeners what
technique? I've never seen anything like it. She would get in front of them and say, "Look, if you're having problems, you tell me."
That's insane.
And I'll do it.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Right into the ego.
Yeah. Can you tell the listeners?
They got $100,000 watches.
Can you tell the listeners what this position? Most people don't know. There's a position called call time manager, right?
Call time manager. Yeah.
What is that?
It's essential.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is dedicated time with you and a telephone and one person with a piece of paper with a description of who you're calling, so that when you call them, you know consequential things about them. And it's calls that only the mayor should make,
right? Because
you're trying to cultivate a donor relationship and build a war chest for your campaign.
Right.
Governor Deal had the best line ever about call time. So Governor Deal was Republican governor of Georgia, a friend of mine. So people didn't think he was going to win. He was a lot like us, but people didn't think he was going to win. And so when he won, he was from Hall County. and he was bankrolled by the Chicken Boys, the Poetry Boys. So he wins, against this popular female Republican who everybody thought was going to win. So of course he beats her by a few thousand votes. And so he had, the meeting where everybody comes to apologize. And so, so Michael, he comes down the stairs and he says, "Hello, everyone. It's so good to meet you because I'm so used to listening to your voicemails." Because they would never take his calls. He said, "I've gotten to know your voicemails and your cell phone messages so well that it's so nice to see you all in person."
I feel like I know you. That's cold-blooded.
He said, and now that I'm governor, I just hope I have better luck reaching you when I call.
They must have been lining up with the checkbooks at the ready, right?
Larry, it was beautiful. It was so elegant.
That is elegant.
I actually get to talk to you all because you wouldn't take my calls, but
yeah,
I got to know your voicemails.
I know you now. So the other reason this person is essential is everything that Mary Reed said, but they also, for me, they time my calls, and so in the early days, I could not spend more than 3 minutes on any call.
That's it.
With any person, and they like rapid, like make the ass get off the phone.
What if it's someone you know? What if it's it usually is, right?
That call should actually be less time because I do know you, right? You know why I'm calling. Right? I don't have to tell you my life story.
Yeah.
Let's cut to the chase, right? So I'll tell you this quick. I know we got a guest. So the campaign manager, Bill Hire, said to the team one day, he said, do you all like being paid? They said, yeah. They said, if you like being paid, do not talk to Michael during call time. Otherwise, you will not be paid. We will have no money. That will be it. So every now and then, call time is brutal, right? So I would just like escape to the men's room.
Yeah.
They would knock on the door. And one day I said in a very loud voice, the next MF that knocks on that door is fired.
Yeah.
Nobody ever bothered me in the bathroom again.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
And how many hours do you spend doing this call time? I'm just fascinated by the
10 to 15.
Yeah.
10 to 15 a week.
Yeah. I was doing at least 4 a day. Do 4 hours of call time, go out in the afternoon, do some campaign stuff, some meetings, whatever, and then the nighttime. And then there was a whole nighttime operation. I learned that from Allison Schwartz.
Oh, former congresswoman in Pennsylvania. Do you feel like I'm fascinated by this? Does it make you feel like shit because you're always asking for money, or do you like it?
No, not at all. For practitioners out there, I never liked politicians that complain about raising money. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody asked you to run for office. You made a judgment. And politics is about the best overall. It's the person with the largest skill set, which has to include, unless you're independently wealthy, the capacity to make people believe in you, which is what they do when they give anything, whether it's $1 or $5 or $10.
Exactly.
Smaller amounts of money are really important because they convert to votes.
Right.
Certainly if it's people who live in the city of Atlanta.
Sure.
They feel like
they
bought a share in Home Depot when they sent their $5 or their $10.
Yeah.
So,
people make an investment in you.
I hear people complaining about that aspect of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, you want to be in the NBA, but you don't want to run wind sprints.
Right.
Like
practice.
We talking about practice?
Practice.
Well, the interesting thing you just reframed it for me, because it's almost like it's actually democratic, right? It's the candidate having to. It's retail politics. It's a candidate having to sell himself. Yeah.
Ultimate retail politics. You know, campaigns are the ultimate startup. I call them the ultimate startup, right? Didn't exist before you came along. You are the product. You are the sales. You are the center of the whole thing. And you can't run a campaign without any money. If you're not raising the money, if the finance team is not raising the money, what are you doing? What are you doing? Right. So like Kasim said, you decide, right? You know, be like something bad happened or something, whatever. Somebody complains to me about something, and my staff would say, you know, you did run twice, right? Nobody made you run. You asked for this. So,
yeah, I had an elderly gentleman who was great. He had a great line. He put his hand on my shoulder. He said, "This is your dream. I can go home." He said, "You don't want to run around and talk about when you're 13. This is your dream, right? You know, you met Andrew Young, and you said you want to go dreaming.
This is your dream. I could go home." Wow. Well, we have a guest.
Yeah. Hey guys, before we get to our esteemed guest this episode, Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman of New Jersey, let's hear from a related unlikely policy guest.
You don't need no gun control. You know what you need? We need some bullet control. We need to control the bullets. That's right. I think all bullets should cost $5,000. $5,000 for a bullet. You know why? Because if a bullet costs $5,000, there'll be no more innocent bystanders. Every time somebody gets shot, you be like, damn, he must have did something. Should they put $50,000 worth of bullets in his hand?
That, of course, is Chris Rock, very unlikely policy expert. Welcome, Congresswoman. We're so happy to see you, and you can elucidate us on the connection between you and Chris Rock.
I was saying that I thought that, you know, in the words of Donald Trump, that the relationship with my legislation and Chris Rock's show was providential.
Yeah.
Not coincidental.
Yes.
How are you? Thank you for having me.
Said we wanted to get to your policy effort around bullets. Tell us about it. Take us from thought through implementation.
So, you know, I introduced this legislation something like 6 years ago. And I think it was in response to Aurora, where the individual had acquired so much ammunition online. And my staff and I talked about it and thought that, you know, you got to take this thing by pieces, because they don't want us to deal with eliminating guns and ammunition from people who shouldn't have them holistically. So this piece that we thought would be important is that if you're going to purchase your ammunition online, the system needs to know who you are and how much ammunition you are actually purchasing. And you need to be face to face with a licensed dealer to actually pick it up, to transact the deal. And so that was the simplistic purpose of that piece of legislation. And it also required that if you purchase 1,000 rounds or more, that the licensed dealer had to report that to the law enforcement.
And just to be clear for the listener, we're talking about your Stop Online Ammunition Sales Act, which you've introduced numerous years in a row, including as recently as last year, correct?
Yeah, I reintroduce it every year.
Wow. And were you aware of the Chris Rock monologue, or is that just or that was just you? What did you think when you saw that and you'd been working on this?
You know, when I did see it, I didn't see it before I had introduced the legislation at first, but I thought, you know, I mean, this is comedy, but this is so true, right? Let guns be $5 a piece and let ammunition be $5,000 a piece. And that's one way of curbing all of these senseless killings also.
And isn't it the case that this is a way to get around, I want to be careful here, but to get around the Second Amendment, right? Because there is no Second Amendment right to a bullet. Is that right?
Well, yeah, that's true. But then there's no Second Amendment right to an assault weapon either. There is a right to a musket. But, you know, as the law has been, as the amendment has been interpreted and applied, we're where we are. So, yeah, we have to do whatever we can to recognize that people think it's so sacred to have this right to bear arms, even though it's not the arms that were even thought about at that time. But to try to put some accountability in the process so we know who has access and who has a desire to purchase a lot of access, so you can find out why.
Congresswoman, let me ask, I'm sure there are many people who agree amongst your congressional members. What's the argument? What argument do people make with you against?
Well, Mayor, you know how convoluted the rules are here in Congress. You introduce a piece of legislation and you go around and you get members to sign on with you, and then it gets assigned to a committee and then you don't hear anything. And so we just never been able to engage with committee chairs on that piece of legislation. There are other pieces of legislation that have been introduced and considered and didn't pass because Republicans in particular in our House were not willing to pass it. But that is not one piece. Now, maybe people don't say that I'm not assertive, but maybe I haven't been assertive enough in it. But I mean, as we see every day, there's a senseless shooting. I mean, what we saw this weekend was a mass shooting.
You're talking about the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, which we're recording this just less than a week after that. That's
I'm talking about the mass shooting. Yeah.
And by the way, just to be clear, no one says you're not assertive. I listened to you say to in a hearing to Louis Gohmert, take your meds. Am I correct in that?
Yes, you are. That was just a moment for me. He was just being so disrespectful to a witness, and he was involving his witness's wife, who had nothing to do with anything. I was just like,
that's terrible.
Oh, this is just awful. Yeah.
It's bad.
How's Congress feeling right now? How do you feel in the chamber? What's the environment like?
Well, it's not very collegial. Not at all. I was in the State House in New Jersey for a number of years, and even though we disagreed mightily on policy, we were able to work together on some things, and we didn't snipe at one another like it's being done on the floor. It's just loud, noisy, chaotic, and every chance that they get, they try to slip something through. And thank God, we have been able to stop some of it, but this is very dangerous territory we're in.
Yes. I served in the House and the Senate in Georgia. I found the chambers very collegial. Even
as in the state of New Jersey also, yeah. But it is not that way. It was a little bit better when I first got to Congress, but as the Republican caucus has grown larger and more extreme to the right, it is less collegial. I mean, if we passed each other in the ladies' room or something like that, it's hello, how are you? Or on the elevator in one of the buildings or one of the apartment buildings that we may be living in, they're pleasant there. But then when you get on the floor, it's a whole different thing.
Wow.
And that's relatively new, right? I mean, I remember reading about people of different parties in Congress, in the cloakroom, even socializing outside of working
Card
hours.
games, bars.
That's right. Drinking. Yeah. Harry Truman, we're going way back, but that does not exist at all.
Well, there's a Democratic club and a Republican club. So when you kind of go eat and drink, you go to your club and they go to their club. There are some folks that have been around a long time that preceded the kind of conditions we have now and the kind of disregard for one another that you see now, that they have relationships. But I don't see any sort of real buddy relationships.
Councilman, you're working on this particular effort, and I'm sure you're working on others, whether it's regarding public safety or other things. Similar to Mayor Reed's question, end of the day, the public does expect any of us, local, state, federal, to actually do some things, get some stuff done. Where do you see positive progress in some aspects of the Congress?
So, Mayor, we were working on a bipartisan piece of legislation that had to do with the border. And it was a piece of legislation that involved a kind of sort of the centrists on both sides. It wasn't a piece I particularly liked, but it certainly was better than what we had. And we were willing and ready to move forward. And Donald Trump told them, hold that up, because that might make Joe Biden look even better. With all the stuff Joe Biden has already done. And so it shut down. I think that if left to their own, we would be getting a lot more done. But because it seems to be this undying allegiance, this almost cult-like relationship with the former president, if he says jump, they say how high. And so we don't get a chance to work on the kinds of things that we may agree on. When I first got there, we certainly did, but then I got there during the end of the Obama era, and when I worked on a committee with a Republican, we developed a kind of relationship and tried to work together on things and even pass some bipartisan legislation, but not so much now. And I don't think that people really understand how significant that is in getting important legislation passed, like childcare or child tax credits or access to medication, or, the kinds of things that Joe Biden has gotten done, even with the limitations on your out-of-pocket expenses for here, on your health care, things of that nature. We're fighting, or we just completed fighting, appropriations bills. And Republicans have cut SNAP, cut World Peace Food, where there seems to be the greatest needs. Those are the areas that get cut. And I don't understand the motivation.
Yeah, I've never understood, especially on many of the issues that you just raised, but in particular on SNAP. It's as if somebody's thinking somewhere that lower income folks somehow have too much food, when nothing could be farther from the truth. And the fact that anyone is without food in the United States of America, or food insecure, or that they're food deserts. Secretary Vilsack, who's of course in his second tour of duty as Ag Secretary, who I really enjoy, and Larry, you'll appreciate, whenever he came to Philadelphia, he always had to stop at the Reading Terminal Market, and his staff nearly had to drag him out of there. So, Secretary, we're late. No, I'm getting some apples. He's just like, I'm shot. Literally, the man had a big shopping bag. And I would say to him, what'd you say?
He's a talented man.
Yeah, but I would say, Secretary, just quietly, there was a tsunami somewhere, or there was this crisis or that crisis, and we've seen those shots of I think it's what is it, the C-17 or C-130, the big cargo plane with the back drops down and they push the pallets of food out. We should do that. We're American.
Yeah.
And I would just say, as a secretary, I just want to know where was that food yesterday? Why isn't some of it in North Philly or West Philly right? We have food. There's no lack of food in the United States of America. We have a broken delivery system and can't get the food to the folks who need the food. We have food in this country. We're paying, well, sometimes we're paying folks not to grow stuff.
Yeah.
Because we have so much stuff.
Well, Mayor, that's true though on a number of levels. We're the richest country in the world. No one has to be unsheltered either, particularly veterans, but nobody. Poor people shouldn't have to live below a certain floor just because they're poor. That's number one. And number two, we don't have we don't have a majority. We're not the majority of the poor people in this country. There are a lot of the poor people in the red states. Don't understand how they don't understand that the people that they're sending to represent them are not representing their bread and butter table issues.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Congresswoman.
And media is not helping us either right now. So,
Congresswoman, one of the reasons we're doing this podcast is because it is widely predicted that by the year 2050, 2/3 of the world will live in cities. And so what struck me about your gun legislation was that's particularly relevant to cities. And these two gentlemen are experts at the mystery and mastery of leading cities. So my question is, how much of that matters to Congress? Do cities matter? And you're someone who comes out of Camden, right near Philly. So do cities matter, because that is our future?
they matter. Cities matter to my colleagues on my side of the aisle. And as evidenced by the things that the other side of the aisle, while in this slim majority, have gone about cutting, I can't say the same thing for them. But I know that there is, in this country, the richest country, and probably one of the most educated in the world, we've got 3 or 4 guns per person. And I know that the mayors know that it isn't all of the assault weapons that are creating the problems in our cities. It's just having access to guns, any kind of gun, in the hands of the wrong people. And so we owe it to this country, I owe it to my granddaughter, that we get a handle on who has guns, who's getting guns, who's got ammunition, how much ammunition do you have? Are you on some red letter, a red list, some list, whatever you call it, that you shouldn't have a gun? Are you, do you
the
have
red flag? The red flag.
Yeah, the red flag. Are you been engaged in any kind of domestic violence? I mean, shootings have resulted in more deaths in our communities of innocent people. It's like a leading cause of death, and kids. Not only are the kids who see the shootings, who actually experience the shootings, but just know that it happens in their cities, in their towns, as they're going to school in the morning or whatever. It traumatizes them. It impacts their mental health. It impacts their ability to learn and to feel free. And it impacts their value system on the value of life, because they're not sure how long they'll have life.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
And we can and must do much better. We just must do much better.
Larry, I never forget a mayor. I was at a conference once, and the mass shootings, of course, the sheer volume, 10 people, 20 people. It was in Nevada. I think it was 49 people or something like that. Sandy Hook, children, babies, and they rightfully, they just shock our conscience and of course capture a lot of attention. But what a mayor said in a meeting once was that, but we experience mass murder every day. It's just in slow motion. It's 2 in this city, 2 in that city, 2 in another city, and before you know it, at the end of the day, 40-some people have been killed.
Hmm.
You'll never
I
see
hear
that
that.
information down at the bottom of the scrolling at the bottom of the TV screen, right? And so, there's different kinds and levels of violence in this country. The mass shootings, the mass murders, front and center. The one party Republicans, we're going to give you thoughts and prayers and all that. And then good Democrats like the congresswoman here actually trying to do stuff. But people are experiencing this each and every day. Think about a 13-year-old comes home from school or playground or whatever, and his or her friend is laying in the street with sheet over him, bullet casings, blood in the gutter. You think that's not going to impact them that night when they go to sleep? You think that's not going to impact them when they go to school the next day or go and be with their friends? And it's not just the family of the deceased. It's the whole block. It's the whole neighborhood. Everybody is traumatized by this event, and it creates an environment of literally not being safe, whether in your own home, on your steps, on your block, whatever the case may be. And that feeling does not go away. That community has been traumatized and damaged in a very distinct way. It's not over when they take the person away.
And Mayor, if we don't do something about it, the young people that are experiencing this trauma lose heart, lose a sense of life's value, get caught up in bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If it's drugs to kind of mute their feelings, or just bad activities because they're afraid not to belong.
Right.
We can do better than that. We just have to be willing to do it.
Of course. And the one thing that doesn't get talked about, the murders and the shootings capture a lot of attention. On the rise is suicide. Young Black men. Suicide. Which is the other part of the gun issue, the kind of part of the bullets issue. It's about, people locking their stuff up. We've had incidents, sadly, here in Philadelphia, children, inquisitive, get a gun, point it either at their brother or sister, or look down the barrel themselves and shoot themselves in the head. Right. So, we just have to be much more serious. But, I've said many, many times ago, and people have quoted, I strongly support the Second Amendment. I just think I have a First Amendment right not to be shot.
Well put. Well put. That line got you elected 20 years ago, not even 20. Congresswoman, I can't thank you enough. What can we do in cities to help you get that online ammunition bill, just get a hearing? What can people do? I know that Fred Gutenberg, the activist whose daughter was killed in the Parkland shooting, has said that your legislation would be a game changer. What can people do? Because I'm sure it polls through the roof.
They can flood the emails, the texts, and the phones of all the members of the Congress. That's what they can do. Congress responds to numbers sometimes. And it needs to know that there is a groundswell for this. Now, you understand that the former president just got nicked in a ear. Steve Scalise got seriously injured with a gun. I just knew that when he came back to the House, that he was going to be a strong proponent of common sense gun safety, but he was not. So this is an uphill battle, but we're not defeated. We'll just keep on going. And the other thing that they can do is they can vote so that we can have the majority in the House, in the Senate, and the right person in the White House, so that we can pass common sense gun safety legislation.
How much of it is the power of the NRA? Do you have members Republican members saying to you, I would be for this, but I can't cross the NRA, or is it not that overt?
Well, they don't say that to me, but I think the NRA has lost some of its luster and bluster.
Yeah, a little overrated these days.
Yeah.
I think more to the point that the Congresswoman raised, and people who, have bought into the whole Trump cult, 'cause it feels like a cult. I don't even know, for elected officials, I don't even know that it's so much that they worry about Donald Trump, the individual. I think many people worry about his followers.
Mm-hmm.
His followers. I mean, they know no bounds. It seems they know no. There's no bottom, and they are aggressive. And so I think some of the members they cower to that mob. Not so much him, because look, Donald Trump, he could say he believes one thing on Monday, and by Wednesday it could be a totally different thing. He could do 180 and say I never said that, even though it's on tape, and B have another explanation. So he doesn't believe in anything. I've called him
Exactly.
Back in the old days. There was the amplifier and the tuner, and then you had your record player, right? Now, the amplifier virtually has nothing in the box. Couple tubes, but by itself, it can't do anything. Donald Trump is an amplifier. Whatever sound you put in there, that's the sound that's coming out of the speakers. But there's nothing in that box. He doesn't believe in anything in particular. He is just the amplifier for the noise that these folks make on a daily basis. And then he runs with it.
And his family has already told us that he has mental health issues of his own. So, he's demonstrated that on more than one occasion. So
yes,
what you see coming out of him is hatefulness.
Yeah. No, he's a
and
damaged
anger.
human being.
Yeah.
He's a damaged human being. I don't know who did it. I don't know who's responsible for it, but something happened.
Something happened somewhere.
Way long time ago. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Congressman, I can't thank you enough for taking the time and for your service, for your feistiness, and for your fighting the good fight. Like to every year put forth this bill for 7 or 8 years now, really says something about your character, and we in cities really thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was good to be with you.
No question.
Great to be with
Good
you.
to see you. All right. Have a great weekend.
Bye now.